Alright, so a few days ago I posted this poll on my channel, and after seeing some positive response from you guys, I've decided to start making different kind of videos where I focus more on the athletes in the sport and basically give you more updates about what's happening behind the scenes. So let's start with an update from Pavlo, who recently had a successful shoulder surgery following his match at East vs West 19 against Riekerd, where during the round 2, Pavlo unfortunately suffered an injury to his shoulder, which obviously made him pull out the match and give the win to Riekerd. But thank God the surgery was successful in the end, and I personally wish Pavlo nothing but a speedy recovery. Now, I do also want to mention that even though Pavlo has suffered an injury on his right arm, he is right back in the gym training his left arm instead, and per his words, getting ready for his match on the left arm. Now, since we were talking about Riekerd, we also have an update from him, with him in his latest Instagram story calling out another rising superstar in the sport, Fillip, who by the way recently went on the 98% Arm Wrestling podcast and said that he is confident that he can beat Riekerd, but the only reason he doesn't want the match right now is because he doesn't want to stop Riekerd's journey so fast since it has recently just begun. Now, Riekerd obviously saw this podcast, or at least a clip from it, because after he made an Instagram story in which he basically gave Fillip a warning and said that when the time finally comes for their match, he will destroy him. Now, we can all tell that Riekerd is not playing any games with this message, to which Fillip actually responded with him saying that the one thing that will break is Riekerd's winning streak. Now, I personally think that the match between these two is pretty inevitable, and I'm willing to bet that we will see this next year. Now, in the case you missed this, East vs West recently announced few matches for their next event in Switzerland, with the first one being Todd Hutchings vs Irakli Zirkashvili, Dave Chafee vs Ibrahim Sagov, and finally Barbora Baisiova vs Gabriela Vasconcelos. Now, if you're interested in seeing what other possible matchups could be announced soon, I made a video recently talking all about this, so if you want to check that out, I will leave a link to that video in the description down below. Then next up, we have a rare update from the legend Oleg Zhokh, who is seen back in the gym training his left arm once again, and per his words, preparing for his next match. And finally, we have some more news about East vs West, who has recently joined forces with the Singapore Arm Wrestling League for their next arm wrestling event, which is happening in November. And it's honestly great to see that East vs West is partnering up with other organizations and making the sport of arm wrestling even bigger.